pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to come together. We pray that you would give us the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding to do what is best for our citizens, for everyone in our town. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. We need to have a, wait a minute. Am I loud enough, Wendy? We need to have an approval of the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as written. I'm not coming through either, am I? Am I? All right. I'm making a motion. There we go.
Councilman McGowan made the motion. Councilman Jernigan seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? At this time, I will open the floor for the first open forum. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I checked off the wrong thing. Approval of the minutes.
I make a motion that the minutes be approved for February 20th, 2023.
Councilman Dobbin made the motion. Councilman Brown seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Yeah, I'll open the first open forum. If anybody has anything they want to bring before the council, please come forward, state your name, your address, limit your comment at 3 minutes. No one coming forward. I'm gonna close the open forum. Now we get into regular business. I haven't been very busy this month. I went to the mayor's meeting. We met in Micro, very productive meeting, I think. There are several things that our mayors are trying to come together as a group to get the county more organized as a group. And we're still working on some things. Leanna and I went to the town and state meeting in Raleigh. Got to meet with our legislators and sat down around the table while we enjoyed a good meal and talk. So we put all the mayors except 2, I think, was at that meeting, and we were all sitting together. So it was like a Johnston County mayor's meeting all over again. But we had a good meeting there. I think that's about all that I've been doing this month, except meeting with Leanne and trying to figure out what we're going to do at a new town hall. And so that's a lot of work. Leanna?
Okay, the first item on your agenda is the North Carolina League Business Meeting voting delegate. The mayor and I are planning to attend, and I only heard back from one of you that you did not want to attend. Is anybody else planning to attend? Okay,
Y'all are all welcome to go, and it's a wonderful meeting.
it's gonna be in Concord this year.
Yeah.
So we just need for you to vote on a voting delegate and an alternate for that business meeting during the conference.
What are the requirements for delegate and alternate? Can you hear, am I coming out there at all? No, they can't. Can you hear me really well?
Jimbo says he can.
All right.
Leanna, just you and Leah are going, right?
Yes, sir.
So I make a motion that you be the voting delegate, we will be the alternate.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion's made that Leanna be the delegate and I'll be the alternate for the meeting. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay,
There's nothing else on your agenda, but just to update you on the town hall purchase, we are looking to close. For the public's sake, if you didn't see it on Facebook or anywhere else, we were approved by the LGC for financing. So we are looking to close somewhere around the 1st of May. That gives us time for a due diligence period to do some research on it, to get the county inspectors over, to make sure we know what we may or may not have to do to make the public area accessible, ADA accessible, and also gives him time to pack up and move. So we've already been discussing with our IT services people what we need to do to move over. We've gotten a couple of people out there to start quoting us on the door locks, the security locks, and the cameras on the town hall campus, and looking into several different things in the council chambers, the dais that needs to be built, the dropping the ceiling down, because right now it's an industrial ceiling. So for sound and AV purposes, we would want to do a drop ceiling in there, and some kind of carpeted flooring, like industrial carpet flooring. Right now it's a concrete floor. I will say that we're looking at 2 different options for how the council chambers will be laid out. And whenever I can get some quotes back, sometime between now and the April meeting, probably maybe in your packet, I'll send out those options just to show you the different layouts that you can decide on. One of the ways that we need to lay it out, we would be delayed in doing that until probably August, latter part of August, because the current owner has a huge rolling file system in there. It's a big metal rolling file system that has to be disassembled and moved by the company that he purchased it from. And until their building is complete and they can get it over there, it would probably be August, and that would be in the way of us carpeting and building the dais. Doesn't mean that after we close in May, we can't temporarily hold meetings in that room, just like we're doing here. We just won't have the big fancy dais and the carpet and the AV system and everything hooked up. It would just kind of be like what we've got here. So that's an update on town hall, unless you have questions.
How did your furniture trip go with the chief?
We have been doing some penny pinching on the furniture. So we've actually taken stock of what we have, a few things that he is leaving there on that property. And so we really only have about 3 sets of furniture that we're going to have to purchase. So we're still looking a really good deal on that through some surplus and gov deals, things like that. So between outfitting the new place and making sure that the police department has got what they need to stay in that building for a little while, we've almost got it covered. So we did purchase the chairs, the audience chairs for the council chambers from a church in Fayetteville that had only used them for about a year. So they look brand new. They're very, very comfortable. We all went over and pitched in and moving those into, and he's letting us store those in that room over at the building right now. But we got 100 chairs for $2,000, for $20 a piece. But they're the kind that stack, and then they also clip together when they're put out for the public. Oh, and a conference room table for the small conference room in town hall. We got that and 8 leather chairs for $400.
Did the stackable chairs perhaps come with the little trolley that you use to stack them on? That's important. You don't wanna haul
They
100
did not,
chairs.
but I've been assured by our public works director that he's capable of building that. So
yes, he is capable of doing that. Anything else?
that's all I have, unless
Okay.
anybody's got any questions. All right.
Anyone have any questions for Leanna? If not, Sherry?
Good evening, council. you got your financial statement in the package. Do you have any questions on it?
I'm not sure what page it is, but it's under expenditures for police. I'm just curious, all the way down the bottom. GHSP grant expenses, capital outlay equipment. Can you explain those to me? On the capital outlay, I see we're over on that. I need to know what that is.
That's for the purchases of all the security cameras that have gone up in town and the expenses that have gone along with that.
I see. All right, the next one, and the final question I've got is the next page, the last item is Powell bill expenditures, 1%. Just fill me in on that. We haven't done something.
Okay, we haven't done a lot. We bought some cold patch for the streets around town, but we haven't paved any streets this year. So that's the reason why that line item has not been used.
Do we anticipate paving any streets this year at all?
Do we have any on the list, Patrick? No?
So that 72,000 roughly goes back in the budget, I guess.
Yes.
That's all I have.
But remember, it's power bill money.
Right.
No, I understand.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it can't be used for anything but streets.
I do have a question. On page 1 of 2, what is the court facility fees? I see us at 157%, $567.50 more than what
What?
we budgeted.
Court facilities. 430.
What's your, after 10, what's your first four numbers?
3431-430.
It's on the first
on
page.
revenue
Oh,
share.
okay.
First page, Sherry.
And what was the item number, Miss Polita?
430.
430.
Court fa-
Court facility fees, that comes from our county court system, Superior Court. Yeah, Clerk of Superior Court, Michelle Ball. And that money, I mean, like, if the police have to go over and like go to court or whatever, I mean, she sends us money.
Okay, good, very good. And my other question is on down at item 800, miscellaneous collections / pet fees.
Right.
And
That has consisted of, I know that I overpaid. Now this will consist a lot of almost $10,000. I had overpaid some FICA taxes. And so instead of like, you can't receipt that back in the line item that you pull it from because it's a liability account. So you have to receipt it in revenues. And that was the only line item it goes in.
All right,
So that was almost $10,000 itself.
very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question for Sherry? Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Wendy, planning?
Does anyone have any questions about the staff report that you have before you?
I know this is probably an irrelevant question. It's not irrelevant to me, but for you, it may be. Has the state looked at anything to do with Swift Creek Road that you know of?
I'm not aware of anything
Okay.
pertaining to,
Well, it's the same Strickland Road that I drove on when I was 16, same width. I mean.
Strickland Road or Swift Creek Road?
Strickland. Once all the homes are in place and stuff like that. I didn't know if there's a way that we communicate with them so that DOT can put it on their plans as far as upgrade a road when there's heavy traffic and,
Once the construction is finished?
yes.
I can relay that to one of their engineers.
Wendy, will that construction have to have a turn lane?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought. So they're gonna have to upgrade that part of it.
Yeah, and you're right. And the reason I ask is because a lot of times they just go in there and cut out for a turn lane, but that, I mean, I was just wondering.
They
Yeah.
will have to have a turn lane, probably have to
Mhm.
have two as big as that subdivision is.
Yeah, but turn lanes, I understand, are two
Yes,
hundred
ma'am.
and 50 feet, and that road needs a lot more than 200.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Turn lanes aren't going to be the answer.
We might need to put that on the RPO schedule, Wendy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you, we have started receiving quite a few calls regarding commercial coming in. They're being very tight-lipped on what, but the calls are starting to pick up on some commercial. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
What are they saying? Even though they're tight-lipped, what are they asking about?
They're just asking about mainly mixed use, business mixed use in various areas. Couple of parcels apparently have recently come on the market. On Wilson's Mills Road down, close to Main Street. And then there's one or two down where Wilson's Mills turns into Gordon Road. So. But they won't tell what it is. I try.
Well, I can't speak for other council, but make sure you let them know that one councilman will be very interested if they come to this council, or to the planning board.
To know what they're putting.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, we want to know some type of detail. I agree with that, Tim.
Because
Okay.
my voting for carte blanche is done. So like I said, I can't speak for the rest of them,
I agree.
but I'm going to want to know what they're going to put on if they want a yes vote for me,
As far as the rezoning goes.
what they're going to put on the property.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the report? Thank you.
There's just so many that we look at, and I mean, it just makes it so much easier where you put where these projects are taking place.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing that.
No problem. Anything to make it easier. The next thing on my portion of the agenda is I would like to request to call for a public hearing for the potential rezone of 3181 US Highway 70 west from agriculture to C70 commercial. This is a general rezone, not a conditional rezone. And the public hearing would need to be held April 17th, 2023.
And give me a better location other than the street address.
Directly
lane.
across 70 from Double Barley Brewing.
Captain Lane's old property.
Oh, okay. All right.
The Lane property.
Right across from the brewery.
Well, he should know.
You ain't been here long enough.
So we need to call for a public hearing. I
Yes,
need
ma'am.
a motion to call for a public hearing for April 17th.
I move we call for a public hearing on potential rezoning. 3181 US 70 Highway West from agricultural AG to C70, which is commercial, at the April 17th, 2023 Town Council meeting.
I'll second that.
Councilman Brown made the motion to request the public hearing. Councilman Dobbin
But-
seconded.
But well, before I cast a yes vote, I'm gonna need some information on what we're foreseeing.
Okay, I can tell you now, it's a general rezone, and with the general rezone, I can't ask them that by general statute. It'll be coming as a
Okay.
general rezone, and if it is approved, it will be approving anything that is allowed in our C70 district.
But you could tell them that at least one council member that you know is very interested before he casts his vote.
I can relay that message. Yes,
Counselor?
sir.
You can relay that. I would advise against signaling that you wouldn't vote. You would vote no unless you were informed as to what they're going to put there.
No, let me go on the record and say, I'm not saying I'm going to vote no.
Just
Absolutely not.
just want to
But,
be clear on
but I
that.
want to be informed for the citizens of the town when considering.
Would you also like for me to include the permitted uses chart? So you can look at it and look down that C70 column to see what would be allowed in a general rezone for
I
that
would love
classification.
that. I sure would.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
we can do that.
Make a motion for the public hearing.
The-
Oh, you did?
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Did anybody second?
Yeah, yeah. The public hearing, calling for the public hearing motion was made by Tim Brown, seconded by Carolyn. It's for April the 17th. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All opposed? Okay.
The next thing on my portion is appointment of a new planning board member. You have a copy of his application here. He has been a resident of Wilson's Mills for many years. He lives here in Wilson's Mills now in town. He is here tonight, should anyone have any questions for him. I would like for you to review that and then make a decision on approving him for one of the seats, seat number 2 for the planning board.
Make a motion, we approve Mr. Eason to the Wilsonville Planning Board to fill seat number 6.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Jernigan, seconded by Councilman Dobbin to approve the appointment of Tony Eason. All in favor? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I have a point of information here. Is by chance, I need to find out, is this a conflict of interest perhaps in view of the fact that he's a town employee? I have.
No, he's
say
not.
again,
He's not.
He's
This is
not a
it's
town
not him.
employee.
It's not him.
This is Mr. Eason.
Yeah. Yeah, this is,
Oh.
no, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
See, I really don't know that many people here.
Yes. Yeah, it is on the application. Oh. We haven't voted yet, no. Oh. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, so Mr. Eason is on the planning board. The next one,
I'd just like to say thank you for your willingness to serve.
yes.
You know, that's important for town growth, as I was reading over it, and, you know, we can't stop it, but we can do the best we can, but thank you for wanting to serve.
Okay, the next one is for Miss Doris Riley, who is also an applicant for the planning board. She would fill the last vacant seat that we have at this time, seat number 5. And again, she is here. Should anyone have any questions for her?
I do have a question, and I guess, Ms. Riley, if I can ask, I'm going to put this out, okay? And feel free to step up and answer the question if you like. I have it, I see the application, and I know the planning board really needs people, and I'm very happy to see you, sir, involved, and Ms. Riley, and people putting their applications in, wanting to serve the Wilson's Mills citizens. My question, Ms. Riley, is, and I'm not throwing bricks at you, okay? But when we ask questions like this, we're asking it for the good of the town people, all right?
Yes,
Not
sir.
just you or the planning board itself. And I have it on information that you want to be on the planning board, but I don't know when that came in your mind to do that, because I understand you haven't attended any of the planning board meetings and you were not present for the interview.
Right, yes, sir.
So they don't know who you are.
Okay, well, the one reason why I wasn't here at the board meeting was because my grandson was given a trophy the night at Boy Scouts. And I'm about family. I mean, I wanted to be there for my grandson. So that's why I wasn't here. And I do apologize for that, but I wanted to be there for him too. So that's the reason.
Okay, that was really my question.
Okay.
That was pretty much
And I
it.
understand that.
Yeah, because folks, the planning board doesn't even know you. You'll have to introduce yourself
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will.
to the board when you meet them. It's just important. I think it's important that not only do you know who you're getting into, I got bricks being thrown at me over here.
No. Go ahead.
But not only is it important for them to know who you are, it's important for us to know who you are and for you to know exactly what they do and how they go about doing it.
I understand that completely.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
let that's my question, and I'm going to vote aye. Don't worry
Okay.
about that. But for anybody else that's watching and planning on joining the planning board or whatever, come to some meetings, please. Learn what it's about, and see the folks involved and learn what's going on and let them see you.
Thank
I'm,
you.
I'm not going to be premature, but I'm going to say welcome.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilman Jernigan, a second by Councilman Dobbin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, David.
I don't blame you. I'd have been there too. And welcome, and thank you for serving as well. And welcome to the community. Nice community right up here.
Yeah, and feel
Thank
free for third Monday of every month, come on in. Right, we got one member back there, but we like to see the others too, because we're all in this together. Thank you very much.
I would like to say that I am in the process of getting some training together for our planning board members. And we are in the process of putting back together our Board of Adjustment, and there will be training for that board as well.
Please.
So we're working on all of that.
Well, that, and that board is very important
Mhm.
because it goes through that board before it comes here. And we need people in the community to look at what people are wanting to do, what route they're wanting to take. I mean, and anybody that in the public that is interested, I would, contact Wendy. Shoot, put in I know you said that we don't have any openings right now, but still, we need folks in the community to volunteer for stuff like that.
We never know when a seat may become open.
Exactly. And just as an aside to our two new board members, and Jimbo, you can vouch for all of this. We depend upon you a lot because people come to you and you spend part of your meetings looking at plans and talking to Wendy about setbacks and all kinds of different things that we may know some of that stuff, but in these meetings, we don't have that kind of time. You guys look at it, you focus on it, and 99 times out of 100, we go along with whatever the planning board says. In fact, probably 100%. I can't remember going against the planning board. So it's very important to Wilson's Mills. So that's why we're glad to have you there. Thank you.
Thank you all for serving. Thank you. Miss Emily.
Same update as last month. We're getting ready for our farmer's market. The first one is going to be on April 1st, and we're really trying to get the word out there. I do have to update that we handed out flyers, and by we, I mean I printed them, and then we had our admin assistant. She was gracious enough to go around town and pass them out for us. And she said she passed them out in Smithfield as well as Clayton, various businesses. And they were very receptive to putting up the flyer and getting the word out. So We're starting on April 1st.
Police Department. I see Chief is not here, so I'm assuming that you are it.
Can you hear me?
Does anyone have any question?
Well, you know I do.
Of course.
Sarge, I just have a question here. It's not talking about anything in particular in here, but just like we did with Wendy, we asked Wendy many, many months ago when she submits her reports to give us the addresses and things so we know where these divisions are and what they're trying to do. To a degree, it's similar for you. I'm very interested in calls for service, accidents, vehicle stops and arrests.
Sir.
Okay, just as a function of what we're doing in this town. But we don't know if our calls for service, for example, are skyrocketing. He's the only guy that we can ask because he knows the numbers, not up here, but he can give you an idea.
Right.
What would the police department look favorably when you submit this report to us? Do sort of a comparison or a graph or whatever, something we can do that very easily, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
So
think
we
I think
can
that's a
see,
great
if,
idea.
that's common sense. We want to see as council members, is our crime rate going up? That's a function of arrests and calls for service. Accidents, we know 70 is just a beehive of accidents, but I want to see, and I want to see after the construction is going, that better go down. Those sorts of things. Vehicle stops. I remember when we were getting like 10, 15 vehicle stops a month. And we complained about that. And now they're up to, look at that, 154. And as an officer as well as I do, that there's so much you can get out of vehicle stops. Look at the crime things that you got on the back. 2 of them are as a result of vehicle stops. Okay. So I'd like to see that stay up there. And I can't remember from month to month what it is. So do you think we could do something like that?
Absolutely.
Just one page with a couple little charts so I can see what's happening?
Yep, I'm sure that, and that would be extremely helpful. Another thing that I'd like to add also is a kind of a map and map out where these accidents
Map
are
out
taking
where this
place.
stuff
these wrecks are
happens,
taking
yeah.
place.
We don't need specific addresses,
Yeah,
but
just so we
know,
can see where the clusters are and stuff like
absolutely.
that. Sure.
I'm sure you guys might have something like that, or you should, back at the department.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I
like-
do that for myself, for planning, when I'm planning scheduling and moving people around.
Okay.
Certain times of the day, you need to have more officers on because I know the wrecks are going to
Okay.
take place and that
Well,
kind
thank
of
you,
stuff. So,
Sergeant. I guess that's homework for you, but nevertheless, it's very
fine.
important, I think, to us.
Where are we at on the SRO for school?
okay, so I believe they're waiting for some paperwork to come back from the state. And then the last I heard, it was probably going to be just another week or so, like he was getting ready to start. So, and it's a matter, again, it's sometimes we have to wait for the state to get the paperwork back. It takes time.
That was what I heard the last
Yeah.
time. They were still waiting for the final report from the state.
Are the 150s up and running and assigned? The
Yes.
Fords, the Ford F-150s?
They should be back this week.
Okay,
I
Being
spoke to them
outfitted.
the end of last week and they said by midweek, we should be able to go get them. So
cool.
we're-
And what are we looking at for the SUVs?
they are completely built, but they're sitting in Detroit because they don't have microchips. And we're waiting for an estimate on how long that's going to take.
When they come here, we're going to send them over for wrapping and outfitting, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So did we promote SRO from within or outside?
Former employee.
Okay, all right. So we're not taking a
No.
position. Okay, all right, thank you.
No.
Thank you, Sergeant. Convey to
Any-
the department. It's still, you guys are doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
Any more questions for Sergeant? Thank you for your work. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is he going to present the general order revision here?
What general?
The next one?
Oh, yeah, you're going, yeah.
Gotcha,
about
didn't I?
that.
Gotcha.
Okay, so one of the revisions we wanted to make to our policy is to extend the distance that an officer would need to qualify for a take-home vehicle from the current 20 to 25. And basically what we did was we looked at the departments around. We want to stay competitive. So we looked at the departments around us. And for example, Clayton, Wendell, Four Oaks, Benson, Holly Springs, and Cary all have 30-mile limits. Smithfield is 25. Selma is changing theirs to 25. We do have an applicant now, a full-time applicant who would be outside of the 20, but would fall within the 25. So we want to remain competitive. It's a perk that, you know, the officers really enjoy having. It really helps us to have some competitive edge when trying to recruit. And so that's basically what we're looking to do.
Is there a reason we wouldn't go to the 30?
Well, the way that we have our
Be 30.
policy written,
When we started out, we were 30.
is that right?
Yes,
That
sir.
was
I
before
don't
my
have a
time.
problem with 30.
I mean, I'm just
I don't-
thinking.
and I can't remember why it got changed.
If Holly Springs and those departments are at 30, are we gonna come back in a year or a year and a half or 2 years and say, well, we need to, I mean, if the growing areas are 30 because we gotta have officers, I mean, I'm just throwing that. out.
What does,
So.
what does chief feel about, it? What does you as
So what-
department feel about it?
Sure. What I was going to add to that is that the way our policy is written, it would be, let's say if we changed it to 25, it would be 25 from the town limit, okay? Not from a central point. A lot of these other departments go from a central point. As we know, our central point may not be this spot for much longer.
No,
So the way it's been written so far, we didn't want to change that part of it. It's from the town limit, which gives us a few miles in every direction if we were looking at a central point. So it kind of comes down to about the same thing.
okay.
Yeah, I think, Randy, what you're referring to, that 30 was years ago, the only take-home car was the chief. So that was 30. And then when we changed into take-home cars, we went to 20. He was still at 30, but everybody else is at 20. And now he's looking to 25. And I don't think there would be, the difference would be incremental going from 25 to 30 insofar as maintenance and everything else is concerned. So I think we open ourselves to a little bit wider range of potential candidates for the office. So I would go along with 30.
That would be great.
I'm going to make a motion,
And I'm gonna second.
whether you like it or not. I don't know. So let's do this. Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the police general order number 200-4 with the proposed additions and the addition of 25-mile range versus the requested 20.
What, you mean
I'm
30,
sorry,
30?
30 versus the requested 25.
Before we vote, will that take care of all of our staff that are on
Yes.
part-time, full, or you got to be full-time
Correct, yes.
to take home a vehicle, correct?
Yes,
And it'll take care of all potential candidates that we're looking at now that are
Right.
viable.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the reason I ask is section 2, letter I, where it specifically points out lieutenant.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's at the discretion of the chief, all right?
yeah, it's at the discretion of the chief for special situations.
I have a question, and I don't know if this has anything, there is no one number of this order on our agenda, but what,
The number on the agenda was a typo.
okay, that's what I want to make sure, because we need to make sure that we are voting on, The correct-
Number that you're voting on is the 200-4.
okay,
Should-
I wanted to
after
be
we
sure
finish-
that was,
After we complete this vote, should we make a motion to amend the agenda to reflect the proper?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, I just saw that and I wanted to be sure that that was correct. Okay. I don't think he's going to be,
I can
Upset
add that
with it.
I've had many discussions with the chief and we initially talked about
Right.
30.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think the sergeant is well within his authority, speaking for the department tonight.
Yes, I do too. Okay, so we have a motion made by Councilman McGowan to approve General Order 200-4. And it was seconded by Councilman Jernigan. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell Chief you did good tonight. Patrick,
Good afternoon. You guys have my report. Any questions?
thank you, Patrick. At this time, I will open the meeting to the second open forum. Anybody having anything to come before council, please come forward. Oh, councilman comments. You don't need to give him more time. Anybody have any comments?
Randy, do you have your mic on? Do you have a comment? I do. I would just like to say that our meetings here are certainly open to the public. Most people know that. And we would certainly welcome to attend our meetings any resident of Wilson's Mills, any resident outside of Wilson's Mills, or we'd ask any keyboard warrior troll to put it down and come see us. That's all I have to say.
Doing with the chicken situation in the town. We voted on to change the no roosters and laying eggs on every other day or something like that. But how's it working out?
She has been out handing out the chicken permit applications and trying to explain to a lot of the residents what we're doing and why. There is a language barrier there with quite a few of the owners of the chickens. But
we can print it in Spanish, though, correct?
There's an
We can
app
do
on the
whatever we
code
do.
enforcement phone that she can go back and forth with them through that app, and that works really well for her. So she's working on it. It's just gonna take time. There's a lot of them.
Really?
Well,
Mhm.
I saw Patrick trying to round up some ducks the other day. Did they not fall under the same category, or did that need to be specific? Is that there beside the road with a pure fish net?
Well, I understand the owners of those ducks says if you can catch them, you can have them because they
Well,
can't
well,
catch them
He didn't
either.
catch them because they're still walking
Yes.
up and
I
down the
know.
street.
If there's a video of that, I'd love to see it.
One of them's not walking anymore. He got hit. And I mean, I don't mean that mean, but the owner doesn't want them back because he can't do anything with them. They've been out there numerous times. There has been one of 3 that have been caught. A second one has been taken care of. I understand there's one more to go.
Well, I was just asking about the chickens because we passed that ordinance or to help, so I'm going
Mhm.
to stay on. I'm going to probably ask this about every month or every other month. And because if we can't get a control on it and the folks raising them can't abide by the rules, then we may just have to do away with chickens in town limits.
I will add that as another line on my monthly report
I mean,
specific to chicken
if you got
permits
rules.
issued. I can do that.
All right, thank you.
Any more council comments?
Mayor, just as a reminder, your last budget session was recessed to next Thursday, March 30th at 4:30.
Did everybody understand that? Our next budget session would be March the 30th here. Okay. Does anyone else have any comments? I just want to thank the staff for all the hard work they're putting in to try to get our new town hall going. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that this group is doing. And I say thank you.
I'd just like to publicly express our town administration and town council condolences to our member and Mayor Pro Tem J.C. Triplett for his recent loss, and we're with you.
Yes.
We're more than council members, we're friends, all right?
Yes. Yes. Now, I'll open the second public forum. Anybody wishing to speak, come forward. State your name and your address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'm Jim Uzzle. I live at 138C Uzzle Industrial Drive in Clayton. 2 comments. One may have already been discussed and I missed it. There was early discussion about a operating town hall sign that would give information that most towns do have. Archer Lodge has a nice one. Smithfield has one. Now we're going to have a permanent location for town hall. There's been some discussion about having that sign out front, which I think is critically important.
We haven't got that far yet. We're in the process of getting that in, but yeah, but we haven't decided on that.
10-4. And number 2 is going from 25 to 30 miles completely deters a policeman from living in the city limits of Wilson's Mills, which is part of what we were trying to do in the beginning, and having that automobile visibly available for people to see. And you're paying for the gas that goes back and forth. I realize it's a perk. I do understand that. But there's enough officers out there that ought to be able to have to live in the city limits of the community, in my opinion. I just have that opinion. Because the more the merrier they're seen and the cars are sitting around town and that kind of stuff. But encourage them to live elsewhere and come here and facilitate. Maybe that's the thing to do, but I just don't think it helps our community grow with protection and getting to know the citizens. They don't see them unless they're stopping them for a violation if they don't live here. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll close the open forum. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Councilman Tim Brown made the motion to adjourn. Councilman Jernigan seconded. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.